She is from Love is Blind, season 9. Her name is Kait.
Like, I didn't ask to be put on the reunion. They asked me when, like, I think, like, the love bombing thing started. I really like him, but do I love him? No. And I like, shut Brendan out because I was like, I'm never going to ask a man to choose me. Disappointing as a girl for a girl to do that to me.
And giving you every reassurance that, like, the girls need. And then all of a sudden, he's walking in another door and giving her the exact same reassurance.
So you are disingenuous. Like, I mean, that, or you're just like a robot. Like, to some degree, it just felt like I think he was trying to win the game. When everything went down, I was hurt and I just felt tricked.
Are you back in the dating world? Welcome back to Blonde Highlight.
On today's episode, we have a special guest. She is from Love is Blind, season 9. Her name is Kait.
Hey, hi. Thank you guys so much for having me.
We are so excited that you are here. We are going to chat everything process to being in the pods, her relationship with Nick, reunion, and all the fun stuff in between. Kait, how are you?
Splendid. A lot this past couple months, I can say for sure. Lots of attention, right? We've all been under the microscope since the show came out, but it's in equal parts like fun, exciting, and nerve-wracking, I would say.
I'm sure it has been such a rush, just like coming out of because you filmed so long ago and then it goes into like the show airing and then the reunion. Sure, it's been crazy.
Yeah, so it is a little wild because I think, fans don't all realize that we filmed this a year and a half ago. So some people are like, this person has a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and it's like, well, yeah, we've moved on since then,
Life has happened.
Yeah, so we as cast, we'll kind of cackle about it, or me and Anton were talking about how people were posting pictures. He went on a rafting trip with his girlfriend over the summer, and people were posting pictures of her toe and analyzing it to see if it was Allie's toe. And I know Anton and his girlfriend. I knew that's who he was with, so it was just so funny to be on the other side of things and just be like, oh my gosh, people are so silly.
The fact that it came down to a toe, that is actually hilarious.
They were like, no, Allie's toenail is shaped like this. It's definitely not Allie.
Poor Allie's probably like, there's so much pressure on my feet right now.
For free feet? Come on.
And no, not cute. No. So walk us through getting on the show. One, what was your decision to go on? What was your casting process like?
Yeah, I mean, I truly never saw myself being on reality TV. I mean, I'm 33 now. I was 32 when I went on the show. I thought I was past that phase of my life where I'd be doing something like this, but here we are.
Here we are.
They reached out to me via my DM and asked me to interview. And quite frankly, I initially thought it was a scam. I was like, there's no way Netflix just messages random people on Instagram to cast for one of the biggest reality shows, right? But I entertained it, and it was actually quite a lengthy process. I think we were going through casting interviews for probably 4 months. And I remember them telling me they had tens of thousands of people apply to be on the show. We did a variety of video interviews, phone calls. At one point, I was just like, I hadn't heard from them in a month. And I was like, I'm not going. It's fine. And then all of a sudden, they were like, okay, pack your bags, be here in 2 weeks. And I was like, what? I have to be ready? So the whole time you think you're not going, and then all of a sudden you're going. So I was not prepared at all. I didn't have clothes. I don't know, people are like, why do they have such a glow up before the reunion? It's because we didn't know we were going on the show. I didn't get enough time to get Botox before going on the show. So that's why we need time to prepare to glow up for the reunion.
That's hilarious.
We heard similar stories from other people on the show. What was your strategy for clothing? Did you shop a bunch, or were you okay, we're just gonna dig in the closet?
No, I am a clothes girly. The outfits are the most important thing to me. That's why I was telling my casting producer, I was like, please just let me know so I can plan my outfits. That's really stressing me out. I placed a lot of online orders, and I had a couple that didn't even arrive until I got back to filming, and I was so annoyed. I was like, oh, I need that outfit.
Okay, your outfit though, I need to know. and I wonder if you're going to know what one I'm talking about. But where are those tights from?
Oh,
The
Beach
tights from
Riot. Yeah. Beach Riot. Those pink and green and black ones. Yeah.
so cute.
My favorite activewear brand. Like all their stuff is super like colorful and girly, and that is just like me to a T. But it's so funny because so many, like I planned so much the outfits, and obviously you see so little of what's actually filmed. So the majority of my outfits that were shown were like my like nighttime activewear outfits, not even the ones that like I put so much thought and effort into. I'm like, of course, but of course, nighttime when we're all like sleep deprived and exhausted and a little tipsy and like emotional, that's when all the drama goes down. So that's why a lot of the scenes that make it are at night.
I have it.
Yeah. No, that was like a big part that was important to me. But I mean, up until literally the day I left, I was going back and forth about going on the show. You just never know when you're in the spotlight how people are going to perceive you. And, you know, I'm a dietitian. I do have professional credentials. So I was like, could this impact my job? Like, you know, I'm someone that really thinks things through. So I was very nervous, like just how I don't know if it would impact my life, but ultimately I was just like, we're going to do it for the plot, baby. Like, let's do it, you know? And I had like a really hard year. The same year that my mom passed and my fiance cheated on me and we broke up it was within the same year that I went on the show. So I was like, you know what? Like maybe this is me turning like the page to like positive and better and like, you know, claiming this year as the year that like my life is for me and better. And I don't know. So yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So it was a crazy casting process, but somehow I'm like, I don't know why they picked me out of 10,000 people. I'm not that interesting, but apparently I am. So here we are.
I love though that there was like 10,000 people applying, but they were like, okay, cute. We're going to go into your DMs. Like it was meant to be.
I heard they also recruit through like Hinge and like dating apps like that. So a lot of people are like, these people don't even live in Denver. Some people actually didn't live in Denver anymore when we filmed. Like, for example, KB Calabria, she was in Denver travel nursing at the time they were casting. So that's how she got casted, but she actually doesn't live in Denver. So a lot of people are like, why don't I see KB with the girls? Because she doesn't live in Denver. We love her. We would hang out with her, but she just doesn't live in Denver. So we don't get to see her as much. Yeah.
What did you think of like dating in the pods? Like, what was that experience like? Like the highlights of it, the lowlights of it?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously super challenging because I mean, I'm used to, you know, taking a pretty heavy weight on appearance, right? How can we not? We all do, whether we want to admit it or not. Like appearance plays a huge role in attraction. So to take that completely out of the equation was really interesting. You know, the other side of the thing of it is that we don't have cell phones. All we're doing is dating all day, every day. You know, we had no TVs in our room. We had nothing. All we did was date and think about dating. So, of course, naturally that connection grows really, really quickly. I mean, I've never thought about, I've been boy crazy my whole life, but I've never thought about boys so much as I did in the pod. Like, I'm getting up and I'm like doing my makeup and thinking about the questions we're going to ask and like imagining our life together. And like, that's why the process is so rapid. And also, every day that you spend together, the dates get longer and longer. So like day one, there were 16 people, which a lot of those people you don't see at all, but there were 16 of us. And I think we did like 10 or 15 minutes per person. But by the end of the experiment, you're spending like 5-6 hours talking to this person through a wall. And it's not like you can just lay there and like cuddle and watch a movie like you might at home. You're talking the whole time. So you really do get to know a person very quickly. And you're having really deep conversations because they actually, the notebooks, the journals that you see they gave to us have different questions to ask every day. You don't have to, but they kind of help move the needle along as far as asking those challenging questions about kids, finances, sex, like whatever, you know, forcing us to have those conversations essentially, which are good things you need to talk about if you're actually going to marry someone at the end of this, which is, you know, the end goal. So for me, I actually did really enjoy dating in the pods. And I mean, obviously, I connected with people that maybe I wouldn't have in normal life. And you didn't see my other two connections. Nick was my number one, but I also went, my top three were Nick, Blake, and Brendan. So I was dating them pretty much up until me and Nick got in our fight and I left. Yeah, so I actually really enjoy dating in the pods. I mean, I think there's something to be said. I don't know, how do we translate this into real life?
Yeah. So when you're in there and you said like, okay, they have the 10-minute, 15-minute, and then it goes longer, like, do you have to stay in the whole time?
You don't have to, but typically you do. And like I remember one day, like there was a guy I did not like, and he ended up in my pod. They have some sort of algorithm they use to match who's going to be in your pod. We both rank everyone. So for example, if I rank you number two, I rank you number two and you rank me number 10, I think that makes 12. And they give you whoever has the smallest score. So sometimes you end up with people you didn't want in your pod. And I remember one day I ended up with a guy and I was like, I literally heard his voice as soon as I walked in, and I was like, no, I literally wanted to cry because I think it was like a 4-hour date day. And I was like, I do not want to talk to this guy for 4 hours. I was so tired. I was losing my voice. And I was like, I'm too nice to just like walk out. Like I would have felt bad. I know, but I ended up just asking him. It was funny because it was the sex talk day. So I just ended up like asking him questions the whole time and letting him yap. And then there's like a buzzer that goes off that like tells you like you have to leave the pod, and then your mic cuts off, so like you can't keep talking. But it got to the end and he's like still yapping about his sex life and all his secrets. And then the buzzer goes off and he's like, oh, we're gonna have to talk about you tomorrow. And I'm like, joke's on you because I'm never gonna see you again. Like,
I love that.
like, I'm not trying to divulge intimate details of my life when I never want to talk to you again. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh my God. I didn't know that that's how it worked. I thought you got to kind of choose who you wanted in your pods for a bit. So even if you do have a connection with someone and you really like them, you might not have the opportunity to chat with them again.
100%. Yeah. And I think the algorithm is a little bit more complex than that, because there were some people that I was like, I know I ranked you high, and they were like, I ranked you high. How did we never see each other again? But it's something with the scoring system and how they rank them that, yeah, sometimes you just don't see people again. So if you're both ranking each other highly, you should consistently see each other again, but you never know. And then of course, if you break up with someone or just don't want to see them again, you won't. But they do cut the numbers down, so it forces you to be selective. I think like day one, it went from 16 people to 8 right away to day two. And then I forget the rest. I want to say it went from 8 to like 6 to 5 to 4 to 3 or something like that. And then eventually proposal day 1. So,
oh,
yeah.
wow.
Something else a lot of people don't know is that proposal day is on the same day for everyone. So it looked like Allie and Anton were talking for 3 seconds and got engaged, but that's not the case. They were talking the whole time, just like everyone else. It just didn't show their whole storyline. So I think sometimes they kind of want to make it look that way. So people,
okay. God, that makes sense. There's been so many times I'm watching the show and I'm like, especially with Allie and Anton this season, I was like, okay, did they even chat? I didn't know that it was all done on the same day.
yeah, it's crazy what they cut. I mean, same with Madison and Joe. They were seeing each other the whole time. And I remember Madison coming out of the pods one day and she was like, Kait, like they had the pod filled with candles for me, and he like read me this thing and it was so romantic. And I can't believe they didn't show that. Like they literally decorated the whole pod inside with like candles that were like hanging or something. Yeah, and they didn't show it at all. So it is crazy how much gets cut out. And there's also people who went all the way to engagement day, literally proposed, and their storylines aren't shown at all. So when the show came out, or like when we were, doing some pre-meetings prior to the show being released, Cass sees the show when you guys see the show. So we have no idea what is going to be shown. I had no idea what level of my story was going to be shown. I only got to know once I had a call with production about being on the reunion and being asked to be on the reunion. So I was like, oh snap, like my story is shown, because I didn't know if I'd be featured at all. Since I didn't get engaged, I was like, I might be on, I might not. I know I got in a fight that was pretty juicy.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh my
God.
God.
I wouldn't have thought that, since you were like kind of casted and actually filming. Like I've done a bunch of appearances on reality shows in my life, and there's been times where that's happened to me, where like I have filmed and then I tell everybody like, oh my God, I'm gonna be on Vanderpump Rules, and then no, you see immediately after I leave, but you didn't see any of it. It just all got cut.
Yeah, I mean, and we did hours and hours of interviews, you know, when you sit in the chair and they ask you questions. And I mean, I had one early on shown, but like so much was cut. And thank goodness, because some of those interviews were brutal. I remember there was one day where I flicked my hair back, like I used like slick back gel. And in interviews, you have to always look the same. So I get out of my interview, like I just had this really intense conversation with one of my guys. I'm like crying, and they're like, "You need to go on an interview and you need to curl your hair and look good."
No.
Actually, also literally, like it was like a web. Like I like pulled it down and tried to curl over top, and thank God they did not show it, because the people would have been like, "What is with that girl's hair? It looks greasy." Like it would have been nasty. So.
Oh my God. As soon as you said slick back, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so good.
It's not coming down.
Production people always think that you can go from a slick back to curls. Like, I don't understand why, but that's a thing.
I know it's tough because like I wanted to do my hair like straight some days and curly some days and like up in little pigtails, but because of the interview portion, you kind of can't. You kind of have to keep your hair the same every day, or else you go through that, which that day I only slicked back my hair because I was so freaking tired. Like we are filming all day, all night. So most days I was getting to set at 7 a.m., waking up at 5-ish to do my hair, my makeup, all that. And we were filming till 3:30 a.m. So like we're getting 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of sleep a night. So by the end, I was freaking drained and exhausted. And I mean, like, that's why like a lot of people are like, why do you look so different? Well, I looked like crap because I was sleep deprived and exhausted and emotionally drained. Yeah, that was like the worst version of me that you saw.
You're like, we're putting in like 20-hour work shifts. Like I'm exhausted.
To be fair, like we choose that. So like the nighttime dating is totally optional. We film all day long, and then I believe nighttime dating started at like, I don't know, like 8 or 9 p.m. And you can skip it and just go home if you want. But I mean, the goal is to get engaged at the end of this. So of course we're all going to want that time. And to a certain degree, like you are kind of competing with other people, right? And if that's your man, like you're like, I'm gonna have my date with my man and get my time in, you know. So it was our choice to stay up and like stay and date. But like there was one night that I say to Nick, like, I'm gonna go home, I'm so freaking exhausted. And literally like that night, like things started to turn after that night, because I think he felt me kind of like giving up on him and not giving him the energy that he deserved. But I was just so tired and I was losing my voice. I could hardly talk. Like I was like, I'm down bad.
But you were really sweet about it, because you were like, when you came in, you're like, I'm really excited to be here. And you were explaining to him, like, I'm excited. I don't sound excited, but like energetically and emotionally, like I'm very much here and excited. So how did your process with Nick? Okay, so like watching it as a viewer, you're seriously... I wanted to throw something at my TV. I was so frustrated. Walk us through some of this, because this was not okay.
Yeah, you know, so what they don't show is me and Nick have a lot of similar interests. So I am very much like your typical Denver mountain girly, which you might not expect by looking at me, but I love to hike. I love to ski. I love the outdoors. Nick lives in the mountains. He's into all of those things. I really did picture a life with him. I think we connected on so many levels there. But when the challenging conversation started to occur, obviously that's where we kind of hit a little bit of a rough patch. And I think you don't see our whole story unfold. Like day one, we connected and we really liked each other. I think it was like day 2 or 3 that he wrote me this letter. And it was like, Kate, I'm falling for you. Like day 2 or 3 in the pods, he told me he was falling for me, writes this whole letter. It's not shown, but he wrote this letter and read it to me. And I just remember sitting on the other side of the wall and being like, holy shit, that's happening. Like I, in that moment, I was like, shit, I might get engaged on this show. Like, damn, like, this is crazy.
This is it.
So that's when I started to also kind of be like, do you really like me? Because we've known each other for like, at that point, we had probably talked for a total of, I don't know, 2.5 hours. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So that was kind of when like, I think like the love bombing thing started. And but at that point, I wasn't suspicious yet, because at that point, everything was good and dandy between us. And then maybe like one day later, he tells me he's falling in love with me, which you see in that episode. And while I really, really did like him, I've been engaged before. So I take that word very seriously. I take engagement very seriously. It's not something that I want to redo again, ideally, in a perfect world. So when he said that, I was like, okay, I really like him, but do I love him? No. And I think he didn't like the fact that I didn't reciprocate that right away. And after that, you kind of see him start to slowly pull back away from me. And that's why I felt it was a love bomb. I mean, if you've ever been love bomb, and I have, and I'll fall for it every time because what? You love me and you think I'm great and you want to like give it like, wow, okay, let's go. Like I'm falling for it. And then just to start pulling back on the feelings, that's when I really had whiplash. And that's when we started to kind of bicker a little bit. I just was like, wait a minute, you told me you love me, and now all of a sudden you're taking that back. That is not a word you say that you can just take back, right? If you like me, fine. If you are dating me and like you aren't sure if you want to progress the relationship, fine. But don't freaking say you love me and then take it back. That's not a word that you can just throw around like that.
I thought it was great how you really stuck it to him with that point, because as a viewer, you see him very much giving you this reassurance, like, I will fight for you until the end. No, like I can't. When he said that, I was like, okay, man, like relax. But like, because as a viewer, you're seeing him go and have these other conversations, and you're like, wait a second, this is not lining up with the reassurance that he's giving you. So like, as a girl watching this, I'm sitting there being like, Kait thinks that like he's 100% in, he's saying I love you, all of this, giving you every reassurance that like the girls need. And then all of a sudden he's walking in another door and giving her the exact same reassurance. At that point, he never said I love you, but I really thought your conversation when you guys had that argument, I thought it was really great that you were sticking it to him. And then I think that he was using, when he brought up religion and when he brought up all of that, I think that all of a sudden he was kind of getting cornered. And I think that he used that to back himself out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I mean, ultimately, I think that he didn't like that I wasn't agreeing with him on everything, and that's one thing. I do have a backbone. Like, I'm not going to just agree with you on everything just so that we can like get engaged super quickly and fall in love. Like, I was taking this process really seriously. So if I don't agree on something, like, I'm going to share that. And we had a lot of conversations about religion. Other ones weren't shown. And well, you see at the beginning where I just say like, I'm not super religious based on, what happened with my mom. And, maybe that door would reopen someday, but it felt very insensitive for him to ignore the fact that that's why I feel that way right now. And, just maybe if there was patience there, that door would reopen. I did share with him in the pods. I was like, if we get married, like I'll take our kids to church, like I'll go to church with you, but am I going to be sitting and praying and having a personal relationship with God? Probably not. And he was like, okay, that's fine. So when we had that conversation again, that last one that kind of blew up, I was frustrated because I was like, we've already talked about this. I've already said my stance. I feel like you're totally ignoring the reason why I feel this way. And, of course, not everyone has experienced loss and grief, and that's amazing and lucky you, but it's very complex. And for me, what I was going through, I think he just couldn't understand it. Like, he just didn't understand it. And he didn't understand why I felt the way that I did. And ultimately, it was just something that he couldn't get behind. And I mean, we don't have to have the same belief, but I think that if that was that important to him, he probably should have just ended it, much earlier on in the process. If that's like one of your core values, fine, let's go our separate ways. But that wasn't the case. And we had other conversations about it. So yeah, it was really shocking. And, as like at that point, that's why you see me just be like, no, like, I was like, we've discussed this. Like, why are you changing your stance? Because mine has been the same this whole time. So I was just frustrated. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say when I saw that, it's actually 6 feet, not 10 feet. We see him repeating some of the same exact lines to Amy as well. And it just really comes off disingenuous to the viewer. What do you think some of the motive was behind that? Was it just like nerves or was it more?
I don't know. It's hard to say. And like, that's part of why, like, this was filmed a year and a half ago. I don't know what he's saying to the other girls. I know our story. I know how our story transpired, but I didn't know that he was saying the exact same things to me as the other girls until I watched it back with all of you. And I was like, that really just fueled the way I felt, that it did feel like he was disingenuous. I already thought that, right? I already said that at the cast meetup at Stampede.
Yes.
But then to see him saying that, like physically see him saying the same things to other girls, I was like, so you are disingenuous. Like, I mean, that, or you're just like a robot. Like, I don't really know. Like, I don't know what your intent is, but it didn't feel authentic to me. It didn't. To copy and paste the same lines to me as another girl. When you're genuinely, authentically falling for someone, those words come from the heart, I think. So to be copying and pasting the same lines, I don't know. I didn't think it was authentic. That's what I said at the reunion.
No.
I'm sorry if that comes off as mean, but those are my feelings and I'm allowed to feel them, So that's my point of view. The viewers don't see the whole story. They don't see a lot of the other things that happen, but that's genuinely how I felt. And I think it was, to some degree, just felt like I think he was trying to win the game,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Try to get there as fast as possible using the lines that he used off ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And I think like when we're watching that episode, when you guys do have that fight, I think, when he brought up the religion, you did call him out and you're like, we've already talked about this. Like, I've already told you. So that's why to me, it felt like it was just like a cop out, because you weren't giving him what he wanted and he was kind of like backed up in a corner. And then I thought it was really interesting because when you guys did have that night out, or even when they were, where were they, in Mexico or whatever, everyone in Mexico was saying that he was performative and they didn't like him. But I wasn't picking up on that at first when watching. And then after, I was like from their perspective, right? So his interactions with other people outside of the pods, they were even picking up on how disingenuous he was.
I can say from experience that living a disingenuous life, if you're being disingenuous to yourself about something, it can come off that way to a lot of people. And
that makes sense.
I'll leave that there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I felt the way I felt based on the way he treated me personally. And like, I've seen some people say Kait went on a smear campaign. I didn't have to say anything to like get the guys to not like him, and nor would they put that much weight on my opinion. Like, they're all their own people. They can feel the way they feel. I think they just kind of had beef with him based on the way, he would act in the pods and things he would do. And like, that's their own thing. I mean, I do think Nick has explained himself a little bit. And I do think to some degree, he just does speak in a polished way, in a little bit more proper way than maybe the rest of us. And that's why it comes off as disingenuous. And I do think, like, we talked after the reunion, and, I feel good with the fact that I do think his apology was genuine and he didn't necessarily mean to love bomb me. I think he maybe just to some degree was a little immature and didn't know what he was saying. Those words carry weight. The way you speak to people carries weight. And, obviously I was very upset when everything went down. I was hurt and I just felt tricked. I really felt tricked. And that's like why I was so upset. It wasn't because I want to have a future with this guy. No, I didn't want a future with him at that point. I just was so like upset, feeling tricked. And I think every girl has felt that way before. I've been love bombed other times before. And it's just so violating because you feel this person just reaffirming you in every way, telling you they love you, like hyping you up, and then just kind of like spitting you out and throwing you away. It just feels so incredibly violating and upsetting. And then you have to go deal with that on your own, those emotions on your own. So, I hope you learned this lesson from that type of behavior is all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
If you're going to tell someone you love them, you should probably actually love them. I think that would go without saying, but who knows?
Okay, let's go to the reunion. So let's get into the reunion. So walk us through some of your feelings. How do you think the reunion went? What did you think of the little basketball game? Like, I need everything.
Basketball game that no one wanted. Okay. Well, so everyone else went out, like the main cast went out, and then maybe like 15 minutes later, they brought out me, Casey, and Patrick, because obviously we're not main cast. by the way, like, I didn't ask to be put on the reunion. They asked me. So everyone's like, why is Kate there? Someone should have cut her mic. I'm like, they asked me to be there. Okay. Like, it's not like I barged my way in and found out where they were filming and just showed up. Like, they wanted me there. Netflix production, whatever. I don't know their reasoning, but I was there. So too bad. You got me.
Netflix is just obsessed with you at this point. Like, they've slid into your DM to get you on the show. They're like, okay, it didn't work. We got to get her on the reunion though. Like, they're in love with you. So
don't blame them. Don't blame them.
Right?
Yeah. You know, I think a lot of the cast was low-key like a little bit traumatized just from the whole experience, especially the main cast. Like, you know, obviously I had a little bit of screen time, but these people are getting thousands and thousands of messages from fans a day, and a lot of them are hate mail. So I think a lot of people were honestly afraid to talk at the reunion. They were being very careful about what they were saying. And I sat down, like literally just walked on set, and I sat down and Nick and Vanessa go, so does anyone know anything about what went on with Patrick and Casey in the ring? And like, they're like, anyone look right at me. Anyone? I'm like, wow, blah, 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 and start talking. So it's not like I was like just trying to like start speaking on this topic. That's really none of my business. But they like, we can't have a reunion if no one's speaking. So
yeah.
That's kind of probably why you hear me talk as much as I did on the screen, is because no one was freaking talking. So
yeah.
And they're just
like, I'm carrying this whole show, guys.
They're staring at me and they're like, Kate, thoughts? And I'm like, like, I don't want to get involved.
Oh man. First of all, I thought it was so weird with the ring thing, because are they provided by Netflix?
The ring is provided by Netflix. No one pays for the rings. It's not Patrick's grandma's like heirloom rings. I saw so many crazy rumors. The ring is $100,000 ring. No, it's not. It's not even a real diamond. It's like moissanite or something.
Stop it.
Yes, but so no, the show provides the rings. There's no like limitation. Anyone, you can keep the ring, you can give it back to your significant other, whatever. You know, I was engaged before, so I gave the ring back to my ex-fiance. You know, for me, that's closure. If I'm holding on to this very important memento of our relationship, I don't want that. I want to close the door. Sure, could I sell it? Yeah, but that just doesn't feel like me. Right, exactly. And like, how much am I really going to get for it? You know what I mean? Like, the resale value on those things isn't great. So I'd rather send the message, I'm done, I'm closing this chapter, and move on respectfully. So, I mean, I see where Patrick was coming from. And I know, like, I hate to side with a man. Like, the last thing I ever want to do is side with a man. But I do see where he's coming from, because I've been there and I've lived that experience. So I understand why he wanted the ring back. I think just for him, for closure. But I also understand why Casey wanted to keep it, because she's like, screw you. Like, it's mine. You gave it to me. It's a gift. Like, no give back, you know? So I totally get both sides of the story. I think a lot of people are upset that Casey ended up with the ring at the end.
I was like, at that point, I almost did feel bad for Patrick, because I was like, he finally gets it back. He's getting the closure, and then like everyone just pushes the pressure on him to say, give it back. Like, the whole thing was messed up. I was like, they gotta cut this, but whatever.
I know the boys were all I don't even know who that basketball player was, but like, you see all the boys like, oh, like all the boys were fangirling. It was so funny. I was like, who's that? Like, me and Madison were like, what? Sports? Yeah, I don't know why they put that in there. I think they just like literally needed to add entertainment value. And like, here's the other thing. We were filming for probably 5-6 hours. So like, people were like, Kate talked too much at the reunion. I'm like, guys, there was a lot of other that they could have included. They chose not to. Okay. So I'm sorry they put so much of me talking in, but there was other stuff they could have chosen. I guess I was just literally like, of the very little interesting conversation we had, the most interesting.
Loved it.
Netflix is going to be reaching out again after that. So, not to pile on Nick too much, but you made a comment that really stood out to me when you said, you know, maybe he wasn't looking for love, he was looking for an audience. Would you want to elaborate more on that at all?
Yeah, I mean, so and it really goes back to the disingenuous thing. And I said it on the reunion. He had only ever apologized to me on camera. So it really felt to me like our relationship wasn't real to him. To me, it was very much real. it felt to me like it wasn't real to him because the only time there was any discussion about our relationship was at Stampede when we did the cast meetup. And he like says, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. And then when he found out that I was asked to show up at the reunion and he was going to see me there, he DM'd me and started trying to apologize again. So I'm like, if this relationship is real, if you really cared about this at all, wouldn't you have already done that? Yeah, we had, he tried to say at the reunion, like, we've talked since then. We've gone back and forth over DM like a little bit, me just being cordial, but that's also prior to me seeing the show release and seeing the fact that he was, kind of like two-timing me the whole time, which kind of further fueled my fire and feeling that he was disingenuous. So, when I said that at the reunion, it really goes back to that. I felt like this was, to me in my heart, it felt like this was all fake to him and he was just here, kind of to do the show experience, get the Instagram following, whatever, that's what I was doing. Because of that, like if he genuinely was apologetic, like why wouldn't you have talked to me in person, asked me to go to coffee, like get lunch, like just talk about this, and I would have forgiven him in a heartbeat. And like, listen, it's not like I'm texting my girlfriends talking shit about Nick every day, all day. Like I do not give a fuck. Like I have so moved on. Sit on this reunion and talk about it. Like let's freaking talk about it. Like I'm like, they're paying us to be here. Like this is our job to discuss this. So I'm going to discuss it. Like that's what I'm here for. So, it felt to me like he was there for that audience because he really wanted to make it to the end. And that's how it appeared to me. So I don't know. Sorry.
One of the things at the reunion that was like a crazy turn is when you had said that you had gone on a date with Brendan. And then later on, you had been at Casey's apartment. And then was it the next evening? Like she was all over him. What happened with that whole story? Because it was kind of short.
Yeah, because I didn't really want to answer that question. Vanessa asked me that, and I don't think it shows them prompting the question, or maybe it does. But when they asked me that, I was like, I do not want to speak on this. But I was like, okay, here we go. But yeah, basically, like when Casey and I weren't super close on when we were filming, but you're also there for like 2 weeks. So like, are you really that close with anyone? I mean, me and Madison just like clicked right away. Me, Madison, and Anna. But like a lot of the other girls' relationships grew after filming. And so I was like kind of trying to be friends with her and like, seeing like what that was about. And we were all going out for one of the cast members' birthdays. And I had gone out on a date with Brendan the day before. We had this kind of, it was very messy. Like I said, when we got home from the show, like day one, we got home from the show and actually did like our own little cast meetup. And I didn't even know what Brendan looked like because I hadn't been able to find his Instagram when we got off the show. So when we saw each other at that meetup, that was my first time even seeing him. So it was really like a reveal on the show, and it would have been awkward. I can low-key imagine how awkward those engagement proposals are, because when I first saw Brendan, first off, he looked totally different than I imagined, and I was like too stunned to speak. Like I had no words. I was like, "Hey," and he was like, "Hey." Went on about her day. And that night, he was actually all over one of the other girls who wasn't really shown, Annie, because they had almost gotten engaged. Different Annie, Anastasia, not that Annie. Annie. They were kind of talking and like getting through their things, and I was like, whatever, like Brendan and I are nothing, it's fine. Like it was whatever, just in the pod. And then like the next night we get together, or like a couple nights later, and then Brendan's like all over me and he's buying me drinks and we're having these conversations and he's like trying to talk to me, and like I'm like, oh my God, like maybe we do have a real connection and like this is a real thing. And then a couple days later, we go on a date, we go to the park, and we bring our dogs, and like, it's just like really sweet and like wholesome. Aww. And I was just so excited, like as a girl, like when you're just like dating a new boy, like you get excited. So I went to meet up with Casey and one of the other girls from the show, and I was like, Brendan and I went on a date yesterday, and like it went really good, and I really like him, and I'm excited about him, and we go to dinner, and immediately, and the girls are like, well, I'm so excited for you, and like this is great, and then we go out and then Casey's all over him, and it's like the blame isn't solely on her, right? Because like immediately after that, that's why like I like shut Brendan out, because I was like, I'm never gonna ask a man to choose me, first off. Obviously like that's on him that he was entertaining that, and it was very like player of him, which is not what I want anyway. But,
no.
it was just very disappointing as a girl for a girl to do that to me. And she had done it to Madison. She's done it to Avery, Joe's newest girlfriend. Like, it's a pattern with her. And like, obviously that's something, do we need to air it out at the reunion? I don't know. Some people say we're mean girls for that. I don't really think it's mean girl to call someone out for treating you poorly. I mean, I don't know, it was shitty girlfriend behavior. That's against girl code. Like, I'm a girl. I would never, like, I'm not even like, I won't even like Joe's post on Instagram because I'm like, no, I'm Team Madison. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know? So like, I don't know. Like, that's just like girl to girl. I was like, damn, that's really shitty. And did I ever say anything to her about it? No, because it's not worth saying anything about it. It's just like, noted, got it. You're not.
No, now you know
what I mean?
now.
Yeah. And that's how I take people every single day. I see everyone as pure and wholesome and amazing until they prove me otherwise. And she proved otherwise. He proved otherwise. So that's okay. It is what that is, you know?
I about died when Patrick was like, I wasn't there.
Me into this. And I don't think he was there. Like, I mean, she has come forward since then on podcasts and like confirmed that all the allegations are true. I mean, she went on Caitlin Bristow's podcast and she was like, yeah, Joe broke up with Madison the night we met. We had a really strong relationship. So when you see her on the reunion be like, no, no, no. Yes, 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 girlie. And, you hear their words. I mean, and granted, it's, a high pressure environment. There is no script. We don't know what questions they're going to ask us. So we are all in the hot seat. We don't know. We don't have answers prepared because we don't know what's going to be asked. I mean, to a certain degree, we can kind of assume, like, right? Like, I knew they were going to ask me about me and Nick. Like, to a certain degree, we can kind of think about what we want to say. But I'm sure she wasn't prepared for Madison to call her out on that. I'm sure she wasn't prepared for my part in that as well. So yeah, that was definitely juicy. The tea was hot.
The tea was so hot. I was like, I need to know. I need to know. I just, my thing is too, is that like, I'm a girl's girl and like, it's no, I'm not trying to throw a lot of hate towards her or anything like that because of the internet. And like, I don't want to play into that. However, like, I am a girl's girl and I don't agree with doing things like that. Like, if you guys had a good night and she knew you had a good night and she went and, kind of got on all that, like, I don't think you're a mean girl for speaking your truth and your experience about it. And I think it's just like everyone's going to have their shit to say about things, but I don't think you're a mean girl. I think you and Madison are like the ultimate girls. Like, that's just how you're supposed to roll. Like,
exactly. And, to be clear, like, I don't want Casey to get any hate. No one from the cast deserves hate. But this is about accountability, right? If there's a pattern there, own it. Say, you know what, my behavior was shitty and I'm going to be conscious of moving forward and making better choices. And like, that is the most beautiful thing you can do. I think that's like what people wanted from Joe too, right? Initially with like the conversation around Madison and Madison's body, Joe was just kind of like, but no, like deflecting. And it's like, just own it and apologize. And same with Casey and Patrick. Own it, apologize, say I was wrong. Say, you know what? I just wasn't attracted to him. I'm sure you've all been there and I'm sorry, I think people value authenticity over anything else. So whether the truth is what people want it to be or not, I think we need to own that. And that's going to be the most authentic thing we can do for everyone.
Like, in the terms of like being a girl's girl, and you also like they were being a little shady when they asked you about like being friends with Avery and being friends with Madison, and I think you answered that well when you were like, well, we're all adults.
Yeah, I don't know why they wanted to make that a storyline, why I'm friends with Avery and Madison. Like, okay, that's none of you guys' business, first off.
Yeah. I was like, how did they know all of this too? Like, this is why they had you on. Like, they were for the plot. They were like, okay, hold on, wait a second. You were the reunion. Like,
no, they literally must stalk us because we did go into a production call like prior to the reunion, and they're like, so we heard there was a pool party at Mike's. What happened? I was like, how do you know that? Like, what? How do you know this? Like, they know everything. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they've got some secret cameras following us, but they know.
That was wild.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So
Where are you now? How are you? Are you back in the dating world? How has this experience affected your views on dating? Where are we at?
Yeah. I mean, I think so. I feel like that's a loaded question because we got off the show a year and a half ago. And I feel like when I got off the show, I was very dating minded. Like it kind of opened me up like a book. And I was like, okay, let's do this. Like I want to date. And I went through a phase where I was dating a lot, probably for like 6 months. And now I'm in like an anti-dating phase. Like I go back and forth. Dating is so draining. And right now I just like really want to focus on being the best version of myself. So in March, my lease ended at my apartment in Denver. So I actually went and traveled for the last like 6, 7 months. And I was in Europe and I was like, I went and lived in Idaho for a month and a half. And I've just been kind of like having this little like eat, pray, love journey. And, like I'm just, like, working on myself. And I just got a new job back in Denver. So that's what brought me back to Denver. So I took all my stuff out of storage. I'm back, roots back down in Denver. But I feel like right now I'm really focusing on being the best version of myself so that when I move forward in my next relationship, I'm attracting the best person for me out of, compatibility versus like desperation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't need someone in my life, but if there's someone that complements my life well and adds value to my life and vice versa, if I add value to theirs, then let's fucking go. But I think something I said to one of my friends the other day is like, I've never been in a relationship where someone doesn't dull my sparkle. Like, I feel like every single relationship I've ever been in, they say I'm too much. They say like, you're doing too much. You're too energetic. Like you want to do too many things. You have too many friends. And I'm like, those are good things, I'm proud of, right? I know. So I think that's the challenge. I'm very like independent and I'm a very busy person. I have a lot of hobbies. I have a lot of friends. Like I call myself a multi-potentialite. I love so many different things. So I think as someone who dates me, like they got to keep up. They have to keep up. And not a lot of people can. Not a lot of people can. So that's what's the challenging thing I think about dating as you get older is like when you're young, you only care about so little. So the pool is this big. And as you get older, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller because I'm like, you're boring. You need to work harder. Like you're lazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The priorities are set. Like the standards are high. Like it's good though. I love that you've come out of this and you're just like, one, she said, I'm going on that Jet 2 holiday all around Europe. Like she had her moment.
Sponsored by me and me only.
But it's so good though. And it's good that like you're just like, I don't need you. If you add something great to my life, then that's fantastic because I feel like it's so easy to get caught up in just like the idea and like the pressures, especially in your early 30s of like, okay, now's the time, like I need to settle down. It's time to, buckle up and do all of that. So like, I think it's really good that like, you're just like, listen, if you add something, cool. If not, I'm busy doing X, Y, and Z and like, you're good.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I think I have a different perspective because I was in a relationship for 8 years and engaged. I literally, like, sometimes I look back and I'm like, I can't believe I was in a relationship that long. Like, what was I doing? Like, it's so weird. But I really feel like I'm hitting the reset button, for this next decade of my life. And, I was in a relationship that I felt like drained me and didn't make me the best version of myself. So I learned that lesson and I'm not doing that again. Want a relationship that built me up. And I felt like in my previous relationship, I was constantly trying to support and build that person up. And it sucked the life out of me, and like now that I am free of that, like I'm so driven in my career, my personal life, my interests. Like I feel like I'm leveling up in every category. And I love that for myself. I'm more mentally healthy and balanced than I've ever been. So I'm not letting any freaking man mess that up.
No.
That is the beauty of being in like your 30s is like you're so assured of yourself and when you need to lock in and buckle down and work on career and you only want someone that's going to bring to your life, not take away.
Yeah. And you know what? It is a testament. I think it's a beautiful thing that we have that choice. I mean, I'm 33 and I think I'm a catch, right? Like I have a career, I'm successful, I have all my needs met in my own right. And I have so many girlfriends that are the same way. And I really see women less and less settling just for any relationship, right? I mean, I could be married right now if I wanted to, but I chose myself. I chose a future that I wanted for myself. And it's really cool to see that things shifting that way, to see girls, choosing themselves over folding some guy's laundry and giving up themselves, giving up their personality. And like, that's great too with the right person. But I just see so many girls who their soul is sucked out of them in bad relationships. And it's so sad to see, especially when it's a friend and you're like, oh, I want to shake you. It's like,
yes. No, I think I'm so excited for you. I love just like, it seems like you've just like had this like beautiful, just like internal glow up. Like she's ready for it. She's ready for everything now.
Yes, I love life. I'm just embracing it all, saying yes to everything, like truly just trying to enjoy, that's what life is for. Only live once, right?
Yes.
Amazing. Well, any last words, Kyle? Anything you want to add in, or
no, I think
do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, is there anything like you want to announce, anything you want to link people to, or anything like that?
Do you have anything coming up you want to talk about?
Gosh, I don't think so. I've had a lot of men in my DMs asking to be my second Pringle ever since the reunion. But they're like, you're single as a Pringle, let me be your other Pringle. I think it's so funny.
I made a note to myself.
I did not anticipate that.
I made a note to myself last night. I was going to say when I introduced you, our favorite Pringle. Then I forgot.
Oh, we should have.
I forgot.
Oh, well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been so great chatting with you. We are so excited for everything that you have ahead of yourself. I think the girlies are going to find this episode so inspiring, especially speaking about choosing yourself and not settling for some like dusty man. So
no dusties allowed.
No dusties. But we will be sure to link all of Kate's information, although we know you're already following her. One thing, the last thing I wanted to say was you didn't get a husband, but you got a new best friend. Like that's even better. Honestly, that's so much better.
Me and Madison talk about it all the time. We are literally the same person. Like we have the same style. We talk the same way. Like we literally talk on the phone every single day. Like we are like fucking sisters. Like I will go to the mountains and like stay in the mountains with her mom and her, and we'll have like a girls' weekend. Her mom's like, if you're not doing anything for Mother's Day, you can come up and hang out with us. And I'm like, oh my God, her mom was fighting with people in the comments on Netflix's post about people. They were like, we don't like Kate, and Madison's mom's like, we do, and it's like fighting. Yes, I love her. Like that is my family. I adore her. I'm so great. And like, at bare minimum, people most common question I get is like, how was the experience? Was it worth it? And I'm like, yes, like I got my best friend out of this. I got such a unique experience. Like who gets to freaking go get mic'd up and work in a warehouse and do like production and learn all this? It was such a cool experience. Was it emotionally draining and challenging? Absolutely. But I don't regret it one bit. I think it was really cool and just, like a highlight to my life that I'll never forget. Right. It's like, never have I ever from here on out.
Like, oh my God. It's a never game now. Like, look at that. And you know what? We're sure because Netflix is so obsessed with you that like you're going to have your own reality show from this. So like, can't wait.
I know. I'm like, can me and Madison get like, I'm thinking like giving like Simple Life of Paris to Nicole, but like me and Madison. Like, I think that would be a great show.
That would be so good. Right now.
Yes, that is so good. No, we definitely need to have an episode with the four of us. And I'm telling you, like, oh my God, the things we could chat about would be so iconic.
We'll brainstorm a good concept.
Yes. Okay, fair. Yes. I love it. Well, so much fun. I could gap with you all day long.
All day.
Seriously.
Oh my God.
Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.